GigglesMcdonut, one of my partners in crime in relation to typing other people utilizing iDT system. I must say that I was embarrassed to say that I mistyped her as an SE Dom. I think after making the transition from box theory to iDT is when everything started to fully come together, both in relation to the system and also a bit how to apply it. I think a lot more principles have been installed to hyperfixate on what's happening most consistently versus what's not. And this is something that she always related to, being an FE Dom. But I'm going to quickly explain what does it mean in relation to the fixes using gigs as an example. So first off, she's an attached protocol chief, which is extroverted, double attached rational type. Mentor, so FE Dom, SE in service, and NI assimilation. And she's a pacified guide. So what that means is by default, she hones in on the collective, how other people feel, and she tries to focus on individuals one at a time. It's the dynamic from that versus the NE in service is quite different, something I'll explain later. She has a transformative fix that has assimilation to NI in service of that guide. So this is a process of 3 functions, but what you're looking at mainly is the attitude of NI once it starts to highlight or gets a little bit more definitive. You will see less of sensation as far as the attitude goes. But sensation is more prevalent into the guide status versus SE in and of itself. So she becomes a wise dreamer because she utilizes intuition in ways that opens up her assimilation fix to make her more transformative in that way. So it's a form of development that is not stagnant, but something that she can achieve or could grow to eventually. Her waving fix, this is more your aspirational, and for her it's the ideator. What she's doing is she's rejecting the passive nature of being an attached protocol chief and connecting in her detached ways as an aspirational ideator. A lot of times when she ideates is in relation to what she sees and understands. You can see how it serves the transformative fix in a way, because there's a connection to transformative and waving, and there's a connection between instrumental and pulsative. One is major, one is minor. One is enduring and one is surging. And these are just the dichotomies that we use. But her waving fix is more aspirational. It rejects her base default, which is a guide, and it taps into ideation in more gradual ways that help benefit her later on in life. Because it's a fixation, it's not something that you can stay in for long periods of time, because you have to answer to the structural hierarchy. But it is something that is encouraging in form of seeing more ways in how she can understand herself. Now, the pulsative fix, which is Cyclone, is a deflective combatant builder. So one thing I noticed with Gigs is her ability to tap into building without naturally building, without fully relying on building. She's more using building to kind of check other people's inconsistency in relation to what they see or what they themselves understands, and how she approaches it is still in an unbiased way because she's object oriented. She tries her best to leave room for others' opinions, but at the same time still sharing hers. But when she share her opinion, it's very definitive into what it sees. It tries to keep consistent of those principles. It's brief and is not naturally building for itself, right? Because she's object oriented, but what it does, it corrects you, right? Because she's a protocol chief. And now you can see how the functions are being used, how the fixes are being used within iDT. Now, this is how it works from what I noticed with Gigs, because she's an instrumental guide who expands to dreaming. But the dreaming is in relation to others, to collective. So what she tends to do, and this is why she's actually really good at typing, and she's always been really good at typing, people, or at least very decent. Now, of course, she doesn't get everything correct, right? No one does. But for the most part, she tracks people very well. The mix of her being extroverted, object oriented, not jumping to conclusions in relation to others' motives. She gives people the benefit of the doubt. It really does speak to her functions. And I thought it was FI, but it's not actually FI. What happens is that gigs always give a very strong reasoning into what she thinks, but it sounds very passionate because she's highly expressive. And that threw me off because I'm thinking there's a lot of judgment happening here. But is it just because she's FI? And this is one of those situations where you hyperfixate on your assimilation or your expression functions. So functions that are not dominant. That people really don't have a strong understanding of how the dominant function kind of codes the type for what it is. So her being a protocol chief is the energetic that always stood out. And her being stronger, her delivery of expression actually does point to FE. Now, if you're using quadra values and hyperfixating on beta or alpha, gamma, delta, so on and so forth, quadra values not in relation to just the functions, because that's how I use quadras. Anytime I say quadras, I'm only talking about valued functions. I'm never speaking about group behavior traits. That is bullshit. People do have shared interests. That is true. But it doesn't mean that everyone with that shared interest is the same type or have the same functions. If you believe that, you have no idea what cognition actually is, nor how it works. You're just typing people based off of similarities. Yes, you can do that. Yes, you could use that as a measurement for tracking. But at the same note, and with that logic, anyone who you can say has the same occupation is going to be the same one or two types. You can make an argument for that. And if you actually go through that occupation, you will clearly see how versified it is. It's just that people are in that occupation processing information according to their individual type, and they're not actually all underneath the same umbrella. That's just a dumb approach. So quadra values in relation to group behavior or anything that actually that form of categorization is unnecessary and not beneficial in typology. All it does is confuse people even further. So going back to my point is, when you look at GigglesMcdonut being an FE Dom, there are actually people who think that Gigs is not pushy, or she can't come off as strong-willed or strong-minded. They don't know Gigs at all. Like, now this is the side that Gigs shows to me quite often, and it's mainly because of how I am naturally anyway. I always share my opinion. I'm strong with that opinion, and I don't care who hears it. It got me in trouble my whole life. Even my own mother complains, like everyone. But with Gigs, it's different because she accustomed to that and she knows how to deal with it because she herself utilized SE and NI in a balanced way in service of a judgment function, but she's FE Dom. She does it or deals with it better than a lot of other people do. When it's NE in service to FE, it is very different. Now, Octa, some people know her, some people don't, is FE Dom with NE in service and SI assimilation. You can clearly see that she's that type. And when engaging with her, what I notice is her willingness to still have a form of control, right? So you can see how the NE and the SI is playing, or how she's playing with these elements, all in service to FE in relation to whoever she's speaking to, the collective. Very rigid when it comes down to protocol and displaying those protocols upon others. But she does it in such a way where it's not forceful, it's not pushy, she's open to possibilities. And in the same token, she winds up throwing in her experiences and how she wants to, or how she wants others to share those experiences in relation to certain things that she brings to the table, or they bring to the table. You can see how soft and more open-minded or more playful their ways are compared to the SENI example of the FE pillar type. These are clear differences. Now we're talking about the same dominant, but what those middle functions do really does change the trajectory of how the type is processing information in its totality.
Floyd Mayweather. Floyd, welcome back. We've missed you, Floyd.
Hey, how you doing? I'm not no former #1 pound-for-pound fighter. I'm just saying I'm the best fighter in the sport of boxing. No one has dethroned me, so how am I not pound-for-pound the best fighter in the world? You tell me.
Because you're retired?
But have I ever been beat?
But what happens is you informed Ring Magazine
Well,
you were
once again,
retiring as welterweight champion.
I already forgot who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Brian Kinney, a guy who's never laced up gloves a day in his life, who don't know nothing about boxing.
Well, it's good to have you back in top form already. You retired. What, Floyd, you want to be a champion emeritus forever? You walked away. You actually retired.
We know you don't know nothing about boxing. Finish going.
Floyd, why come back now?
Why not? Why not? The sport needs the cash cow back, you know. We already know what I can generate. We already know what I can do in the sport, and we already know who's the face of boxing.
You waited over a year to come back.
And I've been gone from the sport, and what these fighters done since I've been gone, together in pay-per-view, out of all the fighters, haven't topped what I've done in 2 fights.
The pay-per-view has been pretty good for Manny Pacquiao fights lately, Floyd.
They still haven't topped what I've done in 2 fights.
Well, one was with Oscar De La Hoya, who was the cash king.
I'm the cash cow, please.
Not compared to Oscar De La Hoya. Have you drawn as much as Oscar De La Hoya in pay-per-view, Floyd?
De La Hoya been on pay-per-view 1,000 times. It took me two times, 3.5 million homes. Me, Floyd Mayweather.
Hey.
Yo.
You want to catch a movie later?
Yo.
What?
What was that all about?
What?
With your dad?
It wasn't about anything.
Okay, so I totally just misread your total diss?
If anything, I was doing you a favor.
A favor?
Yeah, I told you, he's a hard ass.
Seemed cool to me.
Yeah, well.
What's the deal?
There's no deal. I was helping you out, okay? Protecting you.
How's that?
I'm letting you smoke in here and everything.
I bought a filter.
And I figured the less he knows, the better.
You acted like you didn't even know me.
So?
So?
You think I'm gonna be all like, hey, Dad, meet the stoner guy who lives next door, and by the way, I'm sleeping with him?
That's all you think you're doing?
Why do you even care about my dad?
I don't.
Good, then I don't know why we're talking about it.
All right, I'm talking about us.
Us.